The way I see it, the Eagles have to make major changes to this front office, to this coaching staff, and to even players. The question is, will Jeffrey Lurie have the balls to actually do it?
Hail the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly. Scary Cooper, asshole.
Oh, Dingbat!
Oh shit! Oh shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans. Dallas still stinks. By the way, King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's hanging in there. I hope you guys are doing well. You know, the Eagles are 3-4-1 after 8 games. We're halfway through this schedule, and the Eagles' record, in my opinion, is very, very disappointing. It is very disappointing. And not only are we halfway through the schedule, but we're at a bye week. And this bye week, to me, is very important because it's really going to determine if the Eagles can turn this season around, okay? Now, I was on my Flick chat talking to people, and we were talking a lot about Howie Roseman. We were talking about whether, is Doug the problem, is Carson the problem, and I suggest, if you haven't, definitely click the link in the description to my Flick chat. Join that group because you'll find me there a lot of times in between videos. I kind of digging it right now. I'm getting used to it, and I kind of almost like it more than Twitter because it gives me direct access to you guys really quick. And I like it. I'm there all the time between videos, and it's a good way. It's a good place to reach me if you want to talk, chat, polls, all sorts of stuff. So definitely click the link and join me there because it's a lot of fun. But we were talking about what's the problem on this team? Who's to blame? How do you fix it? How do you fix it in the short term? How do you fix it in the long term? And I kind of wanted to give you my state of the Eagles at the halfway point in this season and where I think they're at, where I think they need to go, and what I think they need to do to improve this team. Not just in the short term, but in the long term, okay? Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, they have struggled. Carson especially. I mean, we're talking a guy who's 5 years into his career, who's still fumbling, throwing interceptions, and he looked like he's fatter, he's slower, he looks like he's regressing. There's no question about it. And I am the biggest Carson Wentz supporter. I love the kid. But he has let me down. I am getting very frustrated with this kid. I'm frustrated with the play. Okay? And I know somewhere inside, I know he has it in him. I believe he has it in him to be a very good quarterback. But he's just too inconsistent, man. He's too inconsistent. And he's got a lot of problems. And you have paid him big, big money. And the truth of the matter is, he ain't going anywhere for the next few years. You're stuck with him. So you need to make it work, okay? And then, on top of Carson and his struggles, you have Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson with no offensive coordinator, trying to call these plays that look like a high school football team, very vanilla, very plain. When you watch the game, and I mean, people who stream with me, they know, what's coming. You can look at the offense and call out the play. And if I can do it, and if you can do it, do you think defensive coordinators are not doing it? So imagine you have these defensive coordinators each week preparing for certain things, certain plays, certain looks. Then they go and they play the Eagles, and the Eagles give them those certain plays, those exact looks to a T. Never nothing new, never nothing different. And what's that going to do? Well, I'm going to say that this affects your quarterback. Because Carson Wentz is now going up against a defense who knows what's coming. They know what's coming. They know what to expect. And the Eagles go ahead and give it to them. They give it to them every time. And I think, of course, you're going to have a quarterback who's looking for certain things that the defense knows who to cover, what's going on, and then it forces Carson to try to play hero ball, to hold the ball longer, to do things maybe he shouldn't. And then big problems come from that. Fumbles, interceptions, stupid plays. And that's what you're seeing. So, yeah, Carson's got a lot of problems. And Doug has done nothing to help him in those problems. That is the truth. That is the truth. A good coach would change things up, would take their quarterback and say, this is what you do good, this is what you're doing well, this is what we're having success. Let's mix that up and let's do more of this because it's working. Just like every week when you see the Eagles, fourth quarter, right, they start going up tempo. Carson, he has to do more quick thinking, more reaction, more reading what's there and what defenses are giving him. He starts to move the ball. He moves the ball really good. But when we come out the first 15 scripted plays, when we're in the second quarter, third, he looks horrible. The offense looks horrible because it's so vanilla and it's basic and it's plain. Now, Carson is a big problem. Doug is a big problem for this team, okay? And when you look at this team right now and for the rest of the season, they are going into the bye week. They got 2 weeks basically to figure this out. Carson and Doug need to get together. They need to be around each other every day and work out a way to get this offense moving. They have to do it because I don't think this point in the season, they can really do anything to change what we already have. We're stuck with the coaches. We're stuck with the players. We're stuck with everything we have right now. Now, some people will say, well, you should bench Carson Wentz. And that is a very, very slippery slope. If you bench Carson Wentz, there's two outcomes of it. One, you could bench him to send a message. So let's say you bench him. Let's say he comes out in the Giants game, right, after the bye, and he struggles for the first half, right? And you want to bench him to send a message and then start him the next week versus the Browns? All right, I get it. I can even get behind that on some level, okay? However, once you pulled him and put him back in, the next time you pull him, it's forever. It's forever, okay? So it's a very slippery slope. And will Carson Wentz handle that benching? Remember when Andy Reid benched McNabb? I guess it was against Baltimore. Then he came back and he responded against Arizona. Not everybody's going to respond that way. Carson may not respond that way. Some quarterbacks do, some don't. So they have to get a feel for it. You remember they're paying this guy big money. Big money. It's going to be hard to get rid of Carson Wentz over the next few years. I could get behind the benching, to send a message to him, to the team, but I don't know if I would go that route right now. I think if it was me, I'm gonna sink or swim with Carson. I'm gonna sink or swim with him, and it's going to be his responsibility, one way or the other. If he fails, it's on him. If he doesn't fail, that's on him. But he's got to figure out, and Doug's got to help him. Doug does not put him in good positions, and then when there are plays to be made, Carson seems like he doesn't do it. I mean, I think back to Frank Reich 2017. I mean, Carson looked great, and I think a lot of it had to do with the system. Frank Reich, go look at the Colts. Watch the Colts. That is the Eagles in 2017. That's the exact same playbook. Why we don't keep any of those things, even though Frank left, why we got rid of those things, why didn't we keep some of those plays? Because that's what Carson seemed to do really well, and we got to get back to it. Now, will they? I don't know. We're going to see what Doug and Carson do over the next few weeks. It's going to be very hard to change anything from this point on during this season. But once the season's over, the Eagles need to make several moves. First move, and I hope Jeffrey Lurie has the balls to do this, you have to fire Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman can no longer be the GM, the talent evaluator, in charge of the draft, in charge of player evaluation, because he just is not good. He's just not good. Okay, sure, every blue moon you're going to hit on Travis Fulgham, which to me I think is lucky, but you can't excuse missing out on DK Metcalf. You can't excuse that. Can't. You took Arcega-Whiteside. You took the same position, but you took a guy that was worse. And I don't care what his reasoning is. It was horrible. Too many of those misses. Too many things like that. Okay, Howie Roseman. He's good with trades. Sometimes he's good with contracts, but man. Contracts, maybe he's a little overrated. I mean, look how many contracts are coming up. Look how much up against the cap we are. We are a lot of money over the cap because all he does is push money down the line. Can't do it. Howie Roseman has to go. Has to go. You want to keep him in the organization, make him president, make him Jeffrey Lurie's right-hand man, fine. But he can't be in charge of players. You need to hire somebody who can evaluate talent. That's what, get up there, hat. That's what you have to do. Okay? Then, after this season's over, I go to Doug Peterson. You're not going to fire Doug Peterson. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. They're going to give him more time. But I'm going to go to Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz for that matter. I'm going to go to both those guys and I'm going to say this. Doug, you have to have an offensive coordinator. You need an offensive coordinator, somebody that is in charge of installing the plays, coming up with the playbook, coming up with some better offensive plays than we have, because everything is too vanilla. There's no design. It's just bad. Okay? And then I'm going to say, Carson Wentz, you need a new quarterback coach. We're going to get you a new quarterback coach. Somebody who will hold you accountable, will be on your ass, will double moonwalk you if you're not working on your mechanics, because your mechanics are off, and you just seem like every week Carson's in a press conference like, oh, well, this is me, this is what I do, and I'm not changing. I got to be better. It's enough. Get somebody to get on his ass and make sure he's held accountable for what he needs to do. So I hire an offensive coordinator, I hire a quarterback coach, okay? And then I fire my defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz has to go. He has to go. I don't like his scheme. I think you need a scheme that brings the blitz, brings heat a little more. You see when we add a blitz to our defense, when we blitz, TJ Edwards, boom, he gets a fumble, we get a touchdown, probably won the game. If Schwartz had it his way, he would never blitz. He only blitzes when he needs to. I think you need a better scheme than what Jim Schwartz is giving us. How come all these guys like Rasul Douglas and these guys go to other teams and they're successful? So you need a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback coach. Okay? Now, you're not going to do all those things this year, but going into next year, you're going to do those things. Now, next year, 2021 season, when I have a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback coach, if I go out there and Doug Peterson is the same old thing and nothing's changing, and if Carson Wentz is still making the same mistakes and doing the same things and nothing's changing, at that point, I would consider getting rid of both of them if I can. Carson may be harder to get rid of, but I would consider it. And Doug, I would get rid of him. So they both get one more season after this year, but you have to make changes. You have to put them in better positions. I really think a good offensive coordinator, good quarterback coach, you'll see more of Carson Wentz from 2017 than you're seeing now. I think the Eagles don't hold him accountable. I don't think Doug, his offense works for Carson Wentz. I don't think he even tries to do what Carson's good at. He just does what he wants to do, which is the same things that we see every week. Nothing changes. So going forward, the rest of this year, I want to see what the Eagles can do with this bye week. Can Doug and Carson figure it out and get this offense going? Maybe start playing a little bit better towards the end of the year. And then when the season's over, fire Howie Roseman, get a new offensive coordinator, get a new defensive coordinator, get a new quarterback coach, and then Doug and Carson are on the hot seat going into 2021. That's how I would approach it. I think this year, and we're not even talking about roster. We gotta make some major changes, get rid of some of the older guys, clean out some money. We're gonna need a GM who can do all those kind of things and evaluate talent. It's going to be very, very important to fix Howie Roseman's mess, in my opinion. But this year is hard. They're not going to hire an offensive coordinator midseason. They're not going to bench Carson Wentz midseason. And if they do, that's the end of him. I think that's the end of him. So I don't know with the amount of money he's making that they would do it. However, I think at the end of the year, and what I'm saying is as far as this season goes, I play it out. I let Carson play out the rest of the year. But in the offseason, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback coach, and then Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, they're on the hot seat. There's no excuses. There's no excuses for them now. Doug has been horrible. Carson hasn't been good either. Carson's been horrible too. Okay, they both have. And I'm not going to make excuses for either one of them. So I want a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback coach, new defensive coordinator, new GM. You do those things, then this team could turn around really quickly. But you got to get the right guys. But that's where I think this Eagles team is at right now. And where they're going to go, we don't know. But that's what I would do going forward. Big bye week for the Eagles. Can Doug and Carson figure it out? That's the big question. With that said, take care, talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.